So today we are going to talk about cybersecurity for financial services practices. As I said, my name is Alvaro. I've been Gonzalez. I've been working for BAT for 3 years already as a cybersecurity lead manager. And let's gonna start a little bit with talking the agenda that we have for today. So for today, we are gonna talk about 6 main topics that is gonna be threat landscape, to talk about how the cybersecurity, the attacks, and everything has been evolving during this time. Then we are going to explore who are the attackers, what they are their motives, what they want, what they are techniques more or less, and how to protect against them. From there, we still shift toward the strategy, so how we can build resilience into your businesses, and emerging technologies are worth to invest in, or at least check out, investigate a little bit, and how to protect your infrastructure. And then finally, we are going to walk through the essentials of an effective incident responsive plan. A lot of the times, the small companies, they don't take into consideration that they need to have a responsive plan in case that something bad happens. And then we will finish with a few minutes of questions, so feel free to write any questions down and I will reply it in the end of this presentation. Cybersecurity landscape. Let's gonna begin with the big picture. The cybersecurity threat landscape in 2025 has dramatically changed with the introduction of AIs, new tools, and everything. Attackers, they have it easier than previous years. As we can see, in 2015, the trending of attacks, it was more phishing, trying to install malware in the computers, using DDoS, that they are attacks of denegation of service. Basically, they will bomb your website or your business with a lot of requests and taking it down. The main thing of these attacks, they were completely disrupt the activities of your company or any companies. And in that way, they will ask for some kind of money to stop those attacks. In 2020, the field completely changed. We know that we have COVID, a lot of people started to working from home, that create a big gap in cybersecurity. Nobody was prepared for this amount of remote work, and cracks in the system are starting to show. Not only that, the show up of run software, that is a kind of software that gets your data, gets installed into your computer, then encrypt the data, and they will ask you for a ransom to be able to access to that data, appeared, and it was a massive problem because it was a virus that it was quite new. It wasn't take advantage of the different vulnerabilities of the system. It was just installed and started to encrypt all the data. Also, with the adoption of work environments that they were outside of the office, email systems, they started to be more important, and a lot of companies started to use them more. So to create a communication between the clients or between the work colleagues, and that create also opportunity for the attackers. Then in 2025, that we are now, we know that AI is quite a popular topic, not only for good things, but also for bad things. We saw that a lot of attackers, they are using AI-driven phishing campaigns, tailoring the emails to the person or the company, and make it really difficult to spot them. Also, hand by hand, we have attacks of supply chain attacks. That means that when you receive an email, probably it will take advantage that you have many contacts, and send them again to those contacts, and the attack keeps propagating like a fire. And finally, but not least, the deepfake scams. These ones are the most scary ones. As we saw with AI, probably everybody have seen images that they have been creating with AI, and it's getting better. But it's not only there. Fake voice, AI generations has been quite of a problem. And as I said, nowadays, publicity and interconnectivity is the norm of the day. It's quite strange not to see a company that doesn't have a video of YouTube promoting their products or making some tutorials like we are doing here, or some talks. And it's really easy for an attacker to get that video, extract the voice, put it in an AI, and then clone that voice and be able to use it for phone scams or different kinds of attacks. So as I said, cyber criminals are no longer lone hackers that they are in the basement with the hoodies on or anything. They are running as an organized crime enterprises with hierarchies, custom service desks, and affiliated programs. And the main goal is profit sharing schemes or kind of disruption of the companies to make a profit from it. Threats have become more sophisticated, and it's crucially that we become more aware about how they are operating them. As I said previously, tools are simplified nowadays. I remember when I started in university, I had to study a really thick manual of how to use, for example, Wireshark, that is a tool to check packages through internet. Nowadays it's more simplified. Plus, with the adoption of AI, sometimes these tools is as easy as click of a button. You will have a list of vulnerabilities and you are good to go. So the skills that are necessary to perform an attack have been lower. Nowadays, anybody who has a credit card can purchase a suite of tools that they are used with AI, or they are quite simplified to perform these kind of attacks. So what is important to know is that these attacks mainly are exploitation of vectors. We consider a vector like an opportunity for these attackers. When we analyze the cybersecurity threat field that we have today, we discovered that 60% of the breaches starts with a phishing email. It's not rare that in any company that has an email server, you will find some kind of email saying, "Oh, you forgot to sign this document," and they will redirect you to an unsecure website where they will try to install you some kind of malware, or they will ask you, for example, for a login to access that document. So you will, in good faith, you think that is a legit email, you put your credentials and they're already in. Another of the paths that includes these breaches is unsecure remote access. There are a lot of tools that they are not correct set up, for example, in servers, or even like software that you install in your own computers. Not only that, apps in your phone that they ask for a lot of permissions that barely nobody reads, and they will enable, like, for example, the usage of the camera, data storage, and different things. And finally is simple exploitations. There are like a lot of vulnerabilities daily that appears in different papers of cybersecurity with different software or different hardware, and barely nobody reads them apart from the experts that is our job to be on point of these vulnerabilities. And they could be really simple, like just have access to your phone and listen your surroundings. Maybe you will mention some key information for the attacker to be used. So these are the main three vectors that the attackers will use to get into the systems.
So hang on, Alvaro. Are you telling me that we have to be careful what we say in front of Amazon Alexa?
Yes and no.
Goodness gracious.
Yes, there are a lot of endpoints where they are connected to the house, like, for example, Amazon Alexa, Google Nest, I think is one of them. But not only those, like a lot of electrodomestics, they are now connected to the internet, like, for example, fridges, light bulbs that you can control through the phone, intelligent plugs. And these kind of hardware, you barely pay notice of them. So it's, as a personal practice, it's better to keep a good grip of what you have installed in your household, not only in your household, also in your offices, and keep it updated, because these breaches, like, usually they are not easy to spot, or at least like in an untrained eye, they are not easy to spot, and it could be a vector for an attack. As I was mentioning previously, this article from the BBC that shows how scammers, they have, this is an example in India, for example, they have a lot of offices that they run like a company. You can see these three lads enjoying a cup of coffee, maybe discussing, we should start calling more to the UK or to United States to try to get more computers infected. It's incredible because they run as a legit company. Usually they have a legit background company that is like a call center, and they perform call center activities, but then the other part of the company is just the only activity that they have is trying to scam people, calling saying like, "Oh, we are from Microsoft, we detected that you have a virus, please download this piece of software that allows them to control a computer, or please give us like your name, your password," and that kind of stuff. And even that sounds silly, a lot of people still fall for it, and it's because of lack of training and a lack of awareness of these kind of scams. So as you can see, it's quite scary, and there are multiple examples. India is one of the most recognizable ones because it affects directly to the UK, but we can see these kind of centers in Russia, Thailand, Middle East Asia, and those areas. So what the malicious actors are the motivations? So we can classify the different attackers in 4 groups, and we can also classify in motivations. So we have the nation state ones. These ones are the most higher ones, we can say, the most knowledgeable ones, and usually their motivation is espionage, sabotage, as I said, steal secrets of the state. These kind of groups, they are like sponsored directly from nations. We have an example of APT29, that is like the cybersecurity, I think, mercenaries from Russia. They've been quite active in the last years, and more with Ukraine, with the situation with Ukraine. And the main objective is cause disruption around the world in key sectors. We have, for example, the attack of SolarWinds, that it was a software to manage networks, and it was fairly used in a lot of offices in United States, like government offices. And it was as simple as get inside of SolarWinds to check what endpoints they have connected to the network and how they were managed, and then scale up the attack. These are the most dangerous ones. Probably for a small practice, you will not encounter these kind of attackers, but it's still a possibility because we are working in a really sensitive sector that is financial. So never discard it, but it's probably more difficult to find an attack from them to a small practice. Then the second group is the cyber criminals. This one is the most abundant one. The motivation clearly is profit / ransom, like kidnap the information to get a profit, or get some disruption in the business so they can profit from them. The most clear example we have during the last few months, probably you will be tired of hearing in the news, is the Marks and Spencer hack, that it was performed by a bunch of quite rookie hackers. They call themselves Dragon Force. That is an amazing name for them. Not for a hacker group, but if you like heavy metal and glam metal, it's a really good group to check. And basically, how they performed the attack, it was really easy. They started with low key employees, where their train was not as good as, for example, mid-tier employees. And from there, it started to scale up. Also, I read that it was one of the CEOs of Marks and Spencer click on a phishing email, and with that, start everything. And it was quite not a really sophisticated attack, but it was quite effective because they navigate really well between the employees, and using a lot of social engineer, and be able to completely disrupt a huge company that is Marks and Spencer. Then the next group is hacktivist. Usually these groups are moved by ideology or protest. One of the most famous is Anonymous. We know them from long time. They were really active between 2010 and 2020 with the different situations, like, for example, the Arab Spring, or the protest of United States when Trump was calling that like the elections were stalled, and different situations. Right now, they are like really focused on the war in Ukraine and trying to take systems down from the Russians. And basically, they don't look for a profit. They look just to a way to fight against an ideology of protest. And last but not least, and this is one of the most dangerous one because it's the most difficult to spot, is the insiders. Insiders are usually employees or third-party contractors that they can act as a malicious attacker or as a completely innocent mistake. Usually, these insiders, if we took the definition, the most strict definition, they look for revenge, greed, maybe settle some scores with the company, and these ones are the most difficult to spot because you never know if someone is going to be an insider or not. So better keep tabs on people that they are like quite disagree, or like they are like quite unhappy with the way that it's treated work, because they can become a problem in the future. Some real world examples, as I said, SolarWinds was a really big problem that didn't get a lot of repercussion outside of the cybersecurity world. Mark and Spencer, as I said, they abused with a ransom to the CEO, and Anonymous trying to hack and undermine Putin. So with all this, with this landscape, you probably will be grabbing your chair saying like, okay, what we can do to protect ourselves, protect our companies and our businesses. So the first thing that you have to do is build resilience. Build resilience is not only like put the barriers necessary, it's also a change of mind. You need to understand that cybersecurity nowadays is not just building walls, it's creating resilience. Resilience means that your business can absorb attacks and adapt quickly and keep operating. So one of the most worst situations is that you are attacked and you are not able to resume your normal activity for maybe weeks, months, years. So that's really important to create some certain of resilience to be able to operate and surpass this bad situation. So as you can see here in the graphic, we have 4 tiers. The first one is prevent. The prevention starts in the daily basis. Try to have a strong password management, for example, not use the same password twice in several applications, or don't use your same password for your personal accounts. Those things. Also make sure that your hardware or your endpoints like computers, phones, and all stuff is protected accordingly. Have an antivirus. Make sure that if you are, for example, traveling, don't connect to a Wi-Fi that is unsecure. These kind of preventions will help along, and it will prevent, as the words say, a lot of the attacks. The next step is detection. As I said, it's really, really, really important that you keep an eye on your cybersecurity nowadays. As Charlie said, nowadays, no, like a few years ago, cybersecurity was seen as a luxury, but nowadays it's not a luxury, it's a must-have, and detection is part of it. You need to have, as I said, with an antivirus in your system, and keep training to your employees. Being able to detect certain fails on the security will be able to prevent huge damage if it's caught on time. The next step is respond. Sometimes it's inevitable. You are going to be attacked, and it happens. Everybody has been attacked, and sometimes the cybersecurity have their own cracks. So how you respond? For that, you need to have a plan. You need to know what to do in any certain moment when they happens the attack. We will talk a little bit in a few slides in advance about how to create a response plan. And it's important to detect it, have a proportional response, and then after that, recovery. Get what you learn from it, apply new measures, and then continue with the cycle again. So there is 4 pillars to create proper resilience, and is leadership and governance. As attendees in this talk, I assume that you are in charge of the IT department of your practice or something like that. And this is a really good step to go forward in this leadership and governance. You need to know what are the risks, what are the attacks, and those kind of stuff, and start to train yourselves to be able to pass this knowledge to your employees, or just to apply it in your daily basis. This goes really hand in hand with the second pillar, that is people and training. The most weak chain in your system is people. We are humans and we tend to fail. We are the only animal who will trip 2 times in the same stone, and we are always the weaker link in the chain. So it's important to have a proper training, to have like the tools to be able to respond to these kind of threats, and also to be aware about these risks. From the technical perspective, it's about to layer defenses, secure configurations, good practices, strong authentication methods, and continuous monitoring will keep the bad guys away. And finally, your business continuity plan needs to be aligned with your security. You need to know, in case that your company is hit by a ransomware, what you're gonna do next. Do you have backup copies of all the information. It affected to your clients, how you are going to communicate this fail to your clients. So this has to be aligned with all the previous steps that we mentioned before. And apart from there, it's time to recover. So there is here a few tips that you can start implementing now after this meeting, after this talk. That is cybersecurity hygiene. A strong foundation of this hygiene, it will put you in the right path to be more resilient. We have multi-factor authentication enabled. I know it's a little bit of not a tedious task, but a little bit of pain in the neck, if you allow me to say, to have your phone connected to the application that you're using, like for example your email, and every single time that you log in, have to put the 6-digit code that they will ask you. But I assure you, with that, 90% of the attacks with passwords, like if someone stole your password or you have the bad luck that your password gets leaked to the internet, this will stop it because it's literally almost impossible that the attacker will have your personal phone at the same time that he's trying to log in. So that layer, it will create a lot of benefits for your businesses. The next one is backups. Untested backups. It's incredible, like nowadays with the ransomware attacks that we have previous year, there is still companies that they don't back up their work. They have, or the backups, they are not updated. It's a little bit of a process, I'm not gonna lie. You need to have a little bit of knowledge how to create these backups, but it can be as simple as if you have your documents in your computer, put them in a RAR file with a password, and upload it, like for example, to a bucket that you have in Amazon or a secure cloud environment. And that way you have a copy in case that something bad happens and you will not lose anything. It's also recommended that you check that the backups are updated and also that they are not corrupt or anything, and it's easy to access in case of something bad happens. As I said, employee training is really important. They need to know what are the risks there, and they need to know how to respond to them. Patch management, this is another one that is a big fail but not in companies, also in the daily life. We need to update our software and hardware. How many times have you have this app in the phone that they ask you for an update, or you have your phone or your computer that asks for an update and you say, well, it's going to take 15 minutes. I'm going to do it later and later. And then you realize that it's been 3 months without updating your software. So that's really important because patch management will kill like 90% also of the vulnerabilities, known vulnerabilities. And they are like a vital key to avoid to get exploited in any shape or form. The next one is secure configurations. That this is the most dangerous part. If you have a website or an app that is online, you need to know that the configuration of the servers are secure. It is true that the platforms that we have nowadays, like for example Amazon Web Services, Azure, or Microsoft, they are really good with the security, but you need to have a right configuration, because there are many times where you create a service and you leave a port open and you don't realize it, and that's a vector of attack. So make sure that your configurations are correct, and if you need, like, hire or ask for someone that has the knowledge to check if that configurations they are okay. And then last but not least, asset inventory. There are a lot of companies that they have software that they purchased during the years that they are not using it anymore, but they are still having installed in the computers, or they have licenses that they are still paying, or computers, or not only computers, also routers that they are several years old and they don't realize that they are still there and they are still open to the network. So make sure that you have a list of all your assets, review it every few months, make sure that they're still in use. And if it's not in use, disconnect them, terminate the license if you are not using anymore, because it not only save you money, it will save you from a big scare in the future. So let's gonna talk a little bit about emerging security technologies. I'm gonna talk about three that are most important, and you can start using them now. The first one is AI threat detection. This sounds really fancy, but in the end, is having an antivirus or a system of detection that is connected with AI. As I said, like humans, we tend to be flown, and there are little details that sometimes we don't spot. But thanks to the AI, they are able to detect like minor changes, like for example in the traffic of your website. Like if suddenly you have a lot of usage, maybe it's because your product is getting popular, or maybe it's someone that is scanning for an opportunity or a vulnerability. So these little details, they are picking really well with AI. And nowadays there are a lot of services that they go hand by hand with AI. Like for example, a Bitdefender is a great antivirus, and is connected with AI, and it will help you to protect your company and your computers. We have two policies that they are really easy to implement, and it will make wonders in your business. The first one is zero trust architecture, that we will talk a little bit now, and SOAR, that is security, orchestration, automation, and response, that we will talk to. These two, secure access service edge and blockchains, they are more technical ones and more in the future, especially blockchain based. Everybody has heard about cryptocurrency, that they are in the blockchain and everything. This kind of technology is not only for cryptocurrencies, it can be also applied to sign the documentation and know the origin of the document. But as I said, these two, they are still a little bit more far from the future. So let's gonna jump into the zero trust architecture. And zero trust architecture is not only a really beautiful and buzzword, it means that you never trust a device, a person, or request by default, even if it comes inside from your network. This maybe sounds a little bit paranoid, and this policy maybe will make your eyes roll a little bit, but it's not to be paranoid. It's a change of mentality. You need to think that if you cannot 100% verify the identity that of the, for example, the email that you receive or the request in your practice or in your app, you cannot 100% trust it. So this way of thinking by default, it will help a lot. If there is many times that I saw here in BAT that we received, for example, an email that it was coming from a client, and we have daily talks with a client. We saw his or her face, and we've been in contact for them for a long time. But suddenly we have a strange email saying, "Oh, I need you to sign this document," and this document is on an external website that asks for the login. And because it's not the usual behavior of this client, we makes us already suspect, and they will send the email to me, and I will verify if it's the identity or like the correct email. So it's not to be paranoid about, like everything is going to come wrong or everything is going to be wrong, but it's a kind of, if you apply it in a healthy way, it will save you from a lot of problems in the future. As I said, is the main basic is never trust a device, never trust a person or a request by default. Always try to verify the identity or verify where it comes from. If you could do it, it's as easy as giving a call to Teams, see his face or her face, and verify and ask, have you sent me this documentation, or did you ask for access to this document? And that will save you in the 90% of the cases. Why I comment a video face call? Because going back a few slides, I comment that nowadays with AI, it's really easy to clone the voice of a person. So if you give a phone call, you can use it as a verify, but there is still a risk there that the attacker is targeting straight to you because a number of reasons, and has created this voice clone and managed to create a fake identity around this person. So it's better to see the face, because lucky for us, for now, the AI video generation is not as good as it's gonna be, but we have this tool to protect us. And with this way of thinking, I promise you that it immediately you will see results. It's really simple. It doesn't need any kind of high skill to apply it, and it's really easy. Let's gonna jump to the next one, that is automated response. SOAR. This is a difficult word for a Spanish person to say in English because we roll a lot the R. So as I was saying, security orchestration, automation, and response is a little bit more technical, but it can be done also manually. Let's gonna put an example. Imagine that you receive a phishing email. I know that I'm talking a lot about phishing emails, but as we said, like 60% of the problems always start with a phishing email. The system detects it, removes it from all the inboxes, blocks the sender, and alerts the security team, all without an intervention. That will be the ideal scenario, and a lot of email services, they do that. But as I said, these systems are designed by people, and they can be flown and have some misconfigurations. So what you can do in a simple way is, as soon as you detect that there is a phishing email, or there is like an email that doesn't really fit the kind of emails that you have in your practices, alert everybody, try to verify it. If not, remove it and try and block the user until you can confirm that is a secure user. That, as I said, it can be automatically done, but it requires a little bit of configuration of your servers. So the easy way is to do it manually. I know it's a little bit of work, but I assure you that with these two policies, you will be really, really secure in your environment. Let's gonna go a little. We have 10 minutes, so I have to speed up a little bit. We're gonna talk about infrastructure attack. So an attacker usually will attack the user. As I said, is the weaker chain, but it can attack to several areas. We have your applications, like for example your website that has a form to contact you. It can kidnap your website, or they can attack straight to your servers, that is the data. They can attack to your networks, that is like in your offices, your Wi-Fi, your network that is connected to for the printer and those kind of stuff. And the most important thing that I want you to remember after this chat is that these vectors of attack, the most easily one is this one over here. So make sure, as I said, that you apply the two policies that I gave you, that you maintain a sanitized cybersecurity using the two-factor authentication and the rest of the tips that I've been giving you during this almost hour of talk. And with that, 90% of your problems, it will be solved. There are more technical attacks, and I'm not gonna lie, that's the scary part, because there are like high skill attackers that they will take advantage of vulnerabilities. But take into consideration the size of the companies and of the companies that we are talking about. The only way to protect against those things, those problems that are more high skill, is to have someone of IT, or hire a contractor of IT that will take care of these problems. These are the 6 key areas of protection. Networks, if you can, network segmentation. Make sure that your network is not all connected to one network, because if your network is compromised, then the attacker has free realm to jump through endpoints. Like, you will be amazed how many attacks they can be pinpoint from a rogue printer, or a router that is not well configured. So if you have a sensitive computer or something like that, make sure that it's connected to another network, and that way, with the segmentation, it will put a barrier to the attacker to jump from one area to other. This is the most important part, as I said, a strong identity and multi-factor authentication. Make sure that you install an app for multi-factor authentication after this meeting. There are plenty of them, like for example Authy, Google, they have one app. Microsoft, they have another one for 2FA or multi-factor authentication, and with that, like, you will be more secure in terms of logins. Again, patch and vulnerability management. Make sure that all your software and hardware is updated. Data encryptation, this is really important. We mentioned it before that if in case like you travel a lot or you have to work outside of your work environment that is secure, like for example, I don't know, you have to go to London and you need to connect to a Wi-Fi that you cannot verify the security, make sure that you use a VPN or like this internet connection is a reliable one. It's as easy as if you connected to, for example, your bank account through the web browser. Make sure that in the top, when the URL is, there is letters that it means HTTPS. The most important one is the S, because that shows that the connection is encrypted. So, and also in all other websites, if they don't have the S, get out of there quickly, because they are not secure and they are not encrypted. Secure cloud practice. We everybody use nowadays the cloud. Make sure that your provider is a secure one. Google, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, they are really reliable ones. If you want to get another one that they are not the main ones, make sure that they never had any attacks in the past, or they are on point on their cybersecurity practices. And with that, will help you a lot to avoid any data leakage or any problems derived with third-party providers. As we are saying, third-party risk management, make sure that the contractors that you have or the third party, like if someone is serving you with as an internet provider, that they follow with their cybersecurity, because a lot of the times you are not the problem, is they are the problem. They get attacked and you get exposed. As we were saying with the third party, there is it's not only them that they have to take part of their cybersecurity. You have to take part too. Usually, a cloud provider like Amazon or Microsoft, they will take care of their own networking, so that will be secure. The compute, basically, if you have an app that has like some kind of compute, that will be protected too. Storage, if you upload files or you use it as a backup, they usually take care that is secure and encrypted. Databases, really important. Also, there are a little bit of configuration, but mainly that is quite secure. But you have to check that all these points, they take it seriously, and they are gonna provide a system for you to configure them and also to protect them. Operating system and physical infrastructure. These two is like their own business, so usually you will not have any problems with this. And from your part, you have to make sure that your applications are secure, that they are, if you have your own website or your own app, that they have a strong programming, that is not that doesn't have any bugs or anything that it can be exploited or any vulnerabilities. Make sure that, again, your data is encrypted and is safe. If you need to access it remotely, that the transfer of the data is encrypted from point to point. Identity access management, again, strong passwords, have a multi-factor authentication, and then operating system, that make sure that your operating system and your software is updated. As all of these, it will fall into respective compliance perspective. With this environment, regulatory requirements are more strong. Like a lot of the companies now, they are required to have the ISO 27001 or the GDPR and follow with the GDPR. As we know, we have to protect the data of our clients and our data, and these two are the most important pieces of work that you will need to do during your cybersecurity journey. These two are the mandatory, and it's the two pieces of regulation that you need to follow to make sure and show to your clients and also to the regulatory organisms that you are 100% committed to be secure and provide a secure service. These two, the NYS2 and the DORA, they are more nitpicking. These two are more for more big businesses or businesses that they work straight with banks. But it's good to, at least if you don't obtain it, like kind of align with them. As I said, it's not a matter of how to protect. It's a matter of when we are going to be attacked. Because in the end, every company gets attacked. It doesn't matter if you follow these procedures that I've been talking about. is inevitable. Like nowadays, every single company receives 1,000 of attacks. Most of them no success, but the problem is when they are success, what you have to do. That's where the incident response is so important. Even the best defenses can be breached, and it's the matter of how you respond to them. For that, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a few notes of how to create your incident response and the life cycle of it. The first thing is preparation. You have to make plans. You have to put roles and have the tools that you need for these kinds of incidents. With roles, you need to make sure that the person that is going to be in charge is trained, knows what to do, creates the plan, and communicate to the rest of the team. With tools, you need for like an antivirus to detect and make sure that it's protected. Maybe some kind of a sniffer, that is a piece of software that checks what's the activity in your network. With those two, it's quite easy to see if something is getting wrong. The second is detection. As I said, with a person that has the role and has the training and has the tools, it will be easy for them to detect what is going wrong and raise the voice of alarm in case that is needed. The third is containment. If you are attacked, you need to contain the measure. That could be like, for example, in your plan, if you are having a ransom attack, like they are starting to encrypt the data of your computer and there are several computers in your network, make sure that you unplug them, that you have a plan for it and you apply it, and then try to contain that infection. Basically, it's like being a doctor. The fourth step is eradication and removing the threat actor. Make sure that the person that is attacking doesn't have any access to your network, or make sure that ransomware that we were mentioning before is completely eliminated of the system. And then comes the fifth step, that is recovery, restored in the normal operations, and that we can be helped if you have like a backup of your work and everything is a secure backup, and that way you can continue with your activity. And the final but no and most important is learn your lessons. How that ransomware like got into the system? It was because someone clicked in a phishing email. It was because someone download a piece of software that is a software that usually is a paid software, but they found one with a label as free and is contaminated. Those lessons you need to learn and then reapply and make sure that never happen again. So your incident response plan should be written, tested, and known by the relevant people, like your employees, the CEOs, and the rest of the company. You should know that who is in the IR plan and team, who is going to talk to the media, to the clients, if it's necessary to escalate it by legal for a legal practice, or you need to contact the law enforcement. That should be stipulated in your plans. And finally, test it. Make sure that you have that you run simulations of the attack. It doesn't need to be like hiring a company and perform like, oh, we are getting attacked, but maybe get around saying, okay, this Thursday we are gonna check if everything lands according to the plan, and we are gonna test it. Let's gonna time it, how we are gonna do it, and everything. And then when you have the results, adapt it and make it better. As I said, like you need to name the team. You need to write these procedures. Have a communication plan. In case that is something bigger, like for example, your data has leaked, you need to contact the ISO, or you need to contact the GDPR of the FDA to communicate that you have this accident and that kind of stuff. Last but not least, check your backup. Always check your backup, because it's the most important piece to be able to continue to the normality. So we are finishing. I have probably 10-15 more minutes. So finally, takeaways. Cybersecurity is not an IT issue. is a business resilient issue. As I said, it's not a commodity anymore. It's a must-have you need to have. Resilience doesn't come with technology alone, requires people, process, and leadership. And finally, the organizations that invest in preparation today will be the ones to survive and thrive for tomorrow. Here is a little list of 9 points that you can do right now after this meeting ends. And is, again, establish a multi-factor authentication in all the critical systems. Is your email, a software that needs verification of identity, anything that has a password can be vulnerable. So if you can, and if the service allow it, get a multi-factor authentication. Then keep all your software and hardware updated regularly. Don't skip the security. Don't skip the updates, because in the long run it will benefit you. Train your employees. You are doing a really great step coming to these talks. Talk to your colleagues or talk to your superiors about what you learned today, how you can apply it. Make sure that they get trained to recognize phishing and social engineering attacks, because they are the most popular and the first step of almost any attack. Conduct regularly backups. That's
okay.
Yep.
Alvaro, that's a really good slide. I'll be circulating a link to a recording of this seminar afterwards to attendees.
Sure. Yep.
But not in the past, the ones we've put publicly have been viewed quite a lot by people who haven't attended the seminars. Is it okay to put this live on YouTube or as listed, or do I leave it as unlisted? So only if you've got the link can you?
No, it's completely fine. As
okay.
I'm
obviously the criminals read this as well.
Yeah, but I'm an advocate that information should be presented to everybody and accessible to everybody, and this is a piece of knowledge that everybody should know. So I'm completely fine if he's online with no problem.
And is this your final slide?
Yeah, this is the final slide. I'm gonna jump into Q&A and we finished. I'm gonna go quickly through the points. As I said, implement a strong control and monitoring access and for the anomalies. Document and text the incidents. Like if it's a minor thing, write it and how you respond to it, and that will help you in the future. Review your security posture with third-party vendors and make sure that these third parties are now. It's more important because the GDPR requires that you make an investigation to your third-party providers to make sure that they are aligned with the GDPR and the cybersecurity that they need. Adopt the zero trust approach. Never trust, always verify. And stay informed about the emerging threats and everything. And it's as easy as check on the BBC News if there is being a huge major attack, and look for blogs of cybersecurity. There are a lot of good them. So it will help you to spot certain attacks. And with that, that's our presentation.